welcome to Science with Me. My name is Dr. Erica with Rosie Research, and we are working in Tinkercad Codeblocks. And in our Harry Potter unit, we are going to make a Mad Eye Moody. Fun little googly eye that you can attach to your head, and it'll be kind of silly. So go into your Tinkercad Codeblocks, and you can rename it Mad Eye Moody. And then we're going to use this with a really big 40mm googly eye, and we basically want something that will hold that. So what we can do is we can start off with a square to make the pieces that we're going to add in the piece that sort of goes around your head. So let's make that 20, maybe by 10. It doesn't need to be super thick. We're just going to thread some string through there, or maybe some ribbon through there. With all of our projects, we have a height of 4. And that helps us mail it to our patrons. So if you're a patron of ours, you can send us your code and we will mail that to you, which is pretty great. And then we want a spot to sort of slip it through. And so we're going to make a hole. So we'll have sort of this rectangle, and then we'll make a hole in that rectangle. And let's put this at maybe 10 for the width and 7 for the length. And our height, this time it doesn't matter. It's a hole, so we can leave it as big as we want. And we can see what happens when we run that. You can kind of see how it's going to have like a nice little hole there for ourselves and we can put some thread through there. So let's move this second one though. So you can notice that the second one doesn't quite come all the way down. And so we can change that where it's located at by using a move in our modify. So you can pull that move out. It asks you where you want to move in X, Y, or Z. And we can just move it, let's see, by 2 in Y. And you can see that sort of comes now to this part. It's going to look like a little staple, and we'll be able to thread our string through there. And we can see it better if we create it as a group. So you can kind of see how you would be able to put something through there, which is exactly what we want to do. I'm going to speed this up for when we check those things. I probably don't want it to be so right angled on all of these edges. I want to make something that looks cool and useful, and the way that we can do that is we can change these edge steps up here. The inside one, I don't really mind if that's really sharp edges, but the outside one I kind of want to have some nicer edges. And the way that we can do that is we can decrease our edge steps, and now we can see. Let's see. Oh, we need to add something to the edge. Let's add a 3 there too. And then we'll see. Yes, now you can see sort of how that rectangle is no longer sort of right angles. There's all these nice little curves there, and that's going to look really nice. All right, so this is going to go on the sides of my googly eye so I can thread it around my head. So let's call this a new object. And we can call this sort of the thread piece, like that. That way I can know what we're going to do, because I'm going to need to make more than one of these in my final object. All right, so now we'll create a new object, and we'll call this one my Mad Eye Moody, or just maybe my Mad Eye. And everything we put here is going to be our final stuff. We'll end up deleting this, but we can use this to sort of replicate those pieces. Okay, so I am going to make an eyeball shape, and we can do that with a cylinder, and we can pull out. Now I'm going to use 40mm googly eyes in here. So the radius of a 40mm googly eye is 20, and I want that to be a little bit bigger so I can have sort of an outside edge to it. So let's try maybe 24. Again, we're going to change that height to 4, and let's add these sides. If we change these sides to 50, instead of 20, we can see what the difference will be. Look at all of these sort of angles that you have. You can kind of see it. It's not quite a circle. And if we change it to 50 and we rerun this program, you can see how much more that looks like a circle. Now you could increase that even more if you wanted to, but on a 3D printer, 50 sides does look pretty much round. You don't need to add too much more for that to get that effect. All right, so now I have this plate that I'm going to stick a googly eye on top of, but I kind of want it to not only be a little rounded on these edges, I also want it to have like an inset so that the googly eye is set inside of it. So to get the round edges, I can do what I did above. I can give myself an edge of 3 with 3 edge steps, and we can run it and see. You can already see how nice that is. That gives it a nice curve to everything. And then let's add in sort of an inset to put our googly eye into. So that will be a hole because we're going to delete some stuff. And I want to delete the hole of that's 20 in radius because that will fit perfectly my 40 millimeter googly eyes. I'm going to make this have a height of 4, and that helps it line up exactly with this guy before I shift it going up. All right, and I don't really care if this is sort of right angles, that doesn't really bother me. But we are going to move it up, and we'll move it up in Z maybe by 2, which will give it sort of a 2 thickness of inset. And if we wanted to, we could create a group here and see what that looks like. And creating the group sort of takes it out. So my eyeball is going to be in here. I think I'm going to change this also to 50 so that it doesn't have sort of those chunky line edges. There we go. Now it's nice and smooth and round. Remember, this red piece is going to go away for us in just a little bit. In fact, we're going to start adding a copy of this object. So we can add a copy of our object, and we want to add a copy of that thread piece. And we're going to rotate that so that it can go really nicely onto the edge of this. So we can, this one's a lot of trial and error. Let's see if we rotate around Z, that's sort of picking it up on this blue line and twisting it. So let's see if we rotate about 45 degrees. We can see what would happen. See how it moves right there and it sort of rotated. And now we need to move that. So let's move it. And let's try maybe minus 15 in X and minus 15 in Y, and we'll see where it ends up. All right. So that doesn't quite end up where I want it. I think maybe I'll rotate the other direction around Z. Maybe I'll put it at minus 45. So it'll be going this direction instead. There we go. I need to push it out a little further. So maybe by minus 18, minus 18. We can see where that goes. Oh, perfect. That's exactly what I want. So you can see how we have this hole right here that we'll be able to thread our ribbon through to hold this onto our heads, or maybe we use elastics, which will be perfect. All right, so I need more than one of these. I need 2 of them because otherwise what am I going to thread through? And I don't think it'll be as great to put it sort of over here. That would just like go straight across your face. So we're going to put it off sort of, I think, maybe up over onto the side. So to do that, we're going to add another copy of our object. And we're going to pick our thread piece, just like that. And this time, let's rotate around Z. I think by just 180, that will flip it over for us. And then we can move it. Let's run it and see where it's at. Yeah, so if we moved this straight out, we'll go right over here. That'll be perfect. And that straight out is going to be in the Y direction. So let's see if we did 20 in the Y direction. You can see it's building up. We want to go out a little bit more. We could try 25. There we go. And I think those are about even. Maybe this one needs to go a little teeny tiny bit more. Let's do 25.5. I think this one's a little further in than the other one. Yeah, that looks pretty even to me. Beautiful. And now when I print this though, I don't want this piece here. So we're going to delete this object. So we're going to delete our thread piece, and that will make this, just this one, go away, not the copies of that we had made. And I can create a group right here, and we can see what this looks like. And there is my Mad Eye Moody eye patch. We'll put our 40 millimeter googly eye in here, and you can put some elastics or maybe a leather piece, and you can strap it around your head, and you can walk around as Mad Eye Moody, which is a really fun project. And best of all, since it's pretty thin, you can, if you're a patron of ours, we will print and ship this to us. All you need to do is send us your code, and the way you would do that is you come up here in the upper right-hand corner to export, and you will export as a .stl file, and you will send us that .stl file rename it as your name and maybe your name dash Mad Eye Moody, and we can make sure that we get that off to you. Thank you so much for joining us in this fun Harry Potter Code Blocks adventure, and we will see you soon for other fun things. Bye, friends.